If you love chasing bass in the shallows and you've got a whole heap of weedy spots like this, or you're fishing through grass, these little Zman Finesse Frogz are just unreal. Take a look at some of the action with how I like to use it. It's a great technique to throw it in and burn it straight back across the surface of this weed, and then stop it in the little sections where there's little pockets, or burn it along the edges. Oh, got it. Oh, fish. Beauty. And I'm so glad if you saw that, because this is a style of fishing I've been doing for a long time, since I was a kid. Oh, this is a bigger fish, this one. And I don't know whether you're going to be able to pick it up, because it's into the shadows, and so you're looking into the sun. But you can fish really fast. I was hammering along there, and you can just flick in, bring it back, flick in, bring it back. Really sort of reaction bite style of fishing, and covering loads of ground, especially with my modded motor setup. It's really effective. You just cover a lot of ground, and you're catching the fish that are feeding. Like this big fella. Oh, look at that. Beautiful big bass. So effective as a fishing style if you're trying to cover ground, especially if you're in a kayak and you're moving place to place. Just hammering, casting along, and it's so easy because I've got my hands free. So that's what you want to be doing, casting in and around these grassy sections. Fish fast, especially early morning you can do it, and just chase those fish that are feeding, instead of, you know, having to spend that time and just slowing right down and not getting to cover the ground. My suggestion is just cover as much ground as you can and find those active fish. Especially if it's conditions like this. The water's warm, it's a hot morning, like I'm sweating. I've been sweating since about 6 o'clock this morning, and about 8:30 now, but there's still some shadows, and the bass are pushed right up in there, and they're still going. If you've got sections where the weed just juts out, those little pressure points are mint for bass, and that's what you want to throw along. So I'll side up against the edge of these weed banks like this, peg out my little plastic, and just burn it straight back past those little edges, and often it pays off. Yep. Oh, big bass. So these little Finesse Frogz by Z-Man are just unreal. If you want to get onto this sort of fishing, then you can fish these things from very early morning and late afternoon, and they paddle along like crazy. Those little legs on the back of these things just work perfectly for our Australian bass. Oh, yep, off the grass there. Beautiful fish too. Oh, he's a big bass. Big chunky bass. If you can just manage to get your presentation right up on the edge of the grass, the bass are just waiting. They're just sitting there feeding on anything coming down, grasshoppers, insects, cicadas popping out of the trees. It's all there for the taking for them, and if you can join in on the fun, have a look at this. Oh, have a look at that. Beautiful big bass. Yes! Oh, I saw it chase it out. The bow wave was awesome. Beautiful big bass. Oh, just fishing around these weed beds, the edges of this grass. It's just outrageous for bass with these little Finesse Frogz. And you can hear that I'm not too far away from suburbia, but early morning, these little Finesse Frogz in a freshwater creek is just outstanding. Take a look at this. Have a look at that. You just burn these little things right off the edge of the weed. God, it's so much fun. Yep, got it again. Oh, it's so cool. Yes, you he's got a second one with him. Oh. Come up here, big fella. Oh. Insane.